Hey, what's happening, YouTube? Brian with Renegade Trucking here. Just wanted to do a video right before I go. Today was the last day. Tomorrow I'm taking my test first thing in the morning. And so just wanted to do kind of a recap how everything's coming along and everything. And so I got in there on time today. And there were a bunch of new classes starting and all that. And so they all got set up, and then what was available for us was the offset and straight backing in the practice area. And so I did 3 offset backs, and then the other student showed up and he was working on some offset backing, and then our alley docking, the practice area showed up and or became available. So since we were doing, everything was perfectly fine on the offset backing, our instructor took us over to the alley dock practice area, and I let the other guy go ahead and go. And I was really up in my head about, I really didn't want to practice on this practice portion. I only wanted to practice on the test range, because I was doing pretty well on Friday, and every time I flip-flop back and forth, I know it's just in my head, but every time I was switching between them, everything got way more difficult, and I'd start messing everything up. So I asked the instructor if it was cool. I was in the middle of still studying for my additional endorsements that I wanted to do. I started doing that over the weekend, and so I figured, what the heck, it's $6.25 to go take the tests. If I fail them or whatever, it's not a big deal. I'll just do a retake later this week. And so I wasn't fully ready for them, but I'd been practicing. I read through everything over the weekend and started doing the practice ones. So I'll do a separate video on that. But anyways, he said it was fine for me to go ahead and head down to the tax collector's office and handle that. And if the person who was scheduled to take their test at 8 a.m., failed or whatever, we'd be out on the alley dock practice range or not the practice range, the actual test range. And then in the afternoon was when we were going to go ahead and go drive. So I said, all right, I'm going to go handle those. And then as soon as I get that done, I'm going to zip back. And he said that was cool. So I went and I did that, and I was gone for about an hour and a half, and I got back and it was just clearing up. It was like perfect timing. It was just clearing up for us to go ahead and start practicing on the actual test course. And so I got in, and because the other guy had been practicing that whole time doing the alley dock practicing, and so I hopped in, and he said I could go ahead and do a couple shots. And so, do a couple shots. No, take a couple of attempts at the alley dock. And so I went, man, and I got it. I went the first time, and it wasn't great, but I would have passed. And he was like, go ahead and go again. So I do a second one, and that one was a lot better. Still had I think I encroached on the side boundary one time, but everything else was fine. I think I took maybe 1 or 2 extra pull-ups. And then the third time I go, I dialed into exactly what I needed to be looking at, everything that I needed to do. So the third time I was going, I started back in, and I went perfectly in, didn't even have to take a single pull-up, just literally one motion, one backing up, and that was it. And so I was totally dialed in. So then other guy went and did a couple, and then it was we had enough time for each of us to do one more. So I go and I do another one, and this time with the way that everything was when I pulled forward, it's a little bit different when you've backed it and now you're pulling out from the alley dock position, and you're pulling out to where it is. With this truck and the range, you can't quite get everything lined up totally straight, so it's a little bit different when you're practicing than it is when you get to pull all the way through like you would during the test. So on this setup, I was actually already kind of angled and everything was kind of off a little bit, but I thought instead of trying to get it straight, I thought, well, why don't I just go with this, because I just nailed it on that last one. I said, why don't I go with this, because whenever I have to do like a reset when I get out there and it just doesn't you know, it's a little bit off and I got to pull forward and kind of reset everything, this is the position that you end up in. So I thought this will be good practice for me to just, now that I know all the other stuff that I'm looking at. Well, I was certainly off, and it did take me a couple extra pull-ups and everything, and I definitely, one time I wasn't paying attention to the front of the trailer, and on my blind side it went over the line, so I would have got some points on that. But anyways, I got it figured out. I know what I need to be looking for tomorrow if I get in that position. Hopefully I don't even get in that position, but if I do, I know what I need to be looking at. And so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So then we took an early lunch because there was another test going on by 11, and they were getting all set up for that. So we went to lunch at like 10:30, and when we came back, then we had to go fill up, put a little, gas in, or yeah, put some diesel in it, and so we go and do that, and then first guy starts driving, and he ended up driving all the way down 41, almost out to Venice, and then we finally pulled over and swapped out. And the problem was the next exit or the next chance that we'd get to go on 75 was like another 10 miles down the road, and it was just way too far. So I ended up having to do a U-turn on 41, which that was an experience. And I ended up doing fine with that. So after that, I just drove all the way back down 41, and I was getting a lot of up and down shifting, and felt totally confident on all that. Everything was good. And then once I got all the way back, I went down to Jones Loop, which is, where the school and everything is. And I got an opportunity. This was the turn that I really wanted to work on. It was a wide left-hand turn, because I just, I've been mentioning this, the easy turns, these wide left-hand turns. I think what I keep doing is the instructor keeps pointing out where my trailer tires are, and so I focus so much on them that I'm not focusing on making sure that I'm going wide enough, because there's all the space in the world to pull forward as much as I need to before I need to start turning. I'm so focused on those trailer tires that I end up hitting the line every time, which is an automatic failure on the test, because you're exiting your lane. And so I got an opportunity to do that, and it was, flawless. And I even said, it was great lane control, because I had the trailer position where it needed to be, and there was like a right-hand turn from the oncoming traffic that has like a partial lane. And there were cars trying to zip up in there and try, they want to come up on the side of you. So I made sure I took some of that too. And everything was good. I just needed to start focusing on that. And I paid particular attention to any time I was going from 9th to 8th, and then also 8th to 7th. And I even did a couple, skip shifts where I'd go like 9th to 7th or 8th to 6th, just to practice them, get a feel for it again. And everything went fine. So I got to back in. Waffle House was totally packed, and there were luckily there were 2 spots, like 1.5 spots available, and so the instructor had me straight back into that, which it's not a straight back. I mean, it is, but you're not lined up. You still gotta get it into a point to where you can straight back in there, and so that was cool. I had done that previously, but there was all sorts of space, so it wasn't a big deal. This time it was a lot tighter, and that was cool that I got an opportunity to do that. But yeah, that was pretty much the end of the day. Then from there we swapped drivers, and the other student, because he didn't get a chance to, there were some turns closer to the school that he never really got an opportunity to do. So I told him to go ahead and take over, and he could do that. So yeah, we got back, and I was feeling great. Feel super confident on everything. We were going to do some backing when we got back, but there was someone taking their test who, I don't know if they showed up late or whatever, but they were just getting started, and so the test course was going to be used up while we were waiting, or while we were there. So we just zipped out for the day, and yeah, tomorrow's going to be my test. But yeah, I feel definitely today the most confident that I have the entire time. So probably I may take some points on the alley docking, but that's perfectly fine. That's why you have up to, once you hit that 13th point, you fail. But I'm not really hitting the boundaries or anything like that. So I think I'm feeling pretty good. And then as long as nothing crazy happens on the road portion, I feel like I have everything under control. Anything that's in my control, I'll be able to do. It's just if something psychotic happens that I'm not aware of, but I don't think I'll be doing anything like shifting over railroads. Yeah, I already got that out of my system. It's funny that all that happened on last Thursday, because I really haven't been having any issues with missing shifts or anything like that. And I haven't, that was literally the first time the entire course that I shifted on a railroad track. So I feel pretty good about everything. I don't think I'm going to have any issues passing. And yeah, so that'll be tomorrow. And of course, I'll record a video afterwards, either way, no matter how it goes. And then I'll also do a video on, my final thoughts, overall thoughts of the school and everything, anything that I would, prefer to have changed, or, all the things that went well. So anyways, everything was cool. I feel pretty confident. I feel like I've been coached properly, had enough, obviously I'd still prefer a little bit more alley dock practice time, but, I feel good with where I am. So everything should be good. I'll get that knocked out first thing tomorrow morning and then go from there. All right. Well, hey, thanks for watching. And, please like, comment, and subscribe. And, stay safe out there. Catch you on the flip side.